Hello, it's Lady Lou, the Silver Cinderella, coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas. Welcome to the show. So tickled to see you today. I've got another fun show that's going to help, I think, some of you to get some words that will give you some hope and some choices and some ideas. Because every show will have a different word that I'll focus on. But before I start the word, I want to show you something that my mother did that helped her so much. And she started this long before my dad died, but it was something that kept her moving and growing and changing and creating. My mother was a creator too, and she did it with her sewing. And this is one of her pillows that I adore. And I'm going to hold it up to the camera so that you can see the details. This is hand sewing, embroidery. What she did was take the picture and cut it out of the fabric and then pin it onto the fabric. And then later she made the pillow with what these little points, she called these picots. And this is her signature, the little picots, and made a little pillowcase out of it. She stuffed it in there and made little places so that she could wash the top if she needed to. But it's never been washed because it's never really been used. And this is another one that is just a basic picture. It came like this. It's a pillow top. Fabric stores used to make pillow tops. I don't know if they still do because I don't go to fabric stores very often. But again, all of this is hand embroidered. You can feel the texture just by touching it. Beautiful little hand stitched stuff. Can you just imagine the hours that it would take to do that big of a pillow? And something else that she loved to create was sweatshirts. That again is embroidered. It's a picture she cut out of some fabric and pinned it on the shirt and then embroidered it on. And this is my favorite one. She made this one specially for me, blue bonnets. I adore blue bonnets. So it's again hand stitched. I don't know if you can see all those little tiny stitches in there. But creating, she loved to create. But our word for today is imagination. She imagined everything that she did in her sewing. She made tabletop runners. I've got several of them on my dressers now. They're just beautiful things. And they're embroidered different places, the ends and sometimes in the middle. And it has the little picots, the little points all the way around them. And it's just a precious memory that I keep. She made placemats and made all kinds of tablecloths. She could create a most beautiful tablecloth, Christmas especially. And she made Christmas tree skirts out of felt and put different decorations on them. She used her imagination. And I know you have an imagination too. It may be kind of stale or unused, or maybe it just ran away. I don't know. Because sometimes it can run away. And then we have to go back and find it. So we know you have an imagination and that you've got talents and that you can come up with something fun and innovative to do. Because my mother sold these things. Every Christmas, she would have a sale. And she sold those beautiful pillows for $35 because this was 30 years ago. But well, 20 years ago, but they were worth $135. But she did it for the love of it, and that people who bought them loved them and cherished her work. It's so simple to do things people love. So think a minute, what kind of talent do you have? Are you a seamstress? Could you make beautiful costumes or beautiful dresses or slacks? Because that's an art. Being a seamstress. My mother was a Bishop method instructor at one time in her career for Halpern's Fabrics in Houston. She dearly loved that. She learned so much about sewing, and then she taught others. One of their favorite phrases, which always baffled me, was, "To pin is a sin, to baste is a waste." I always pin and baste. when I'm sewing. But she learned how not to do all that because of the method that the Bishop method used and taught. So she just created things. She had some hats that were stunning. And she was a little bitty person, barely 5 feet tall. In fact, she shrunk, as we all do when we get older. She shrunk and she had this white hair. I mean, I didn't get the white hair. My brother got the white hair. Can you believe it? A man with white hair. And the rest of us got my daddy's salt and pepper. But that's another story. Anyway, her hats matched her dresses. She made the most beautiful suits. Back in that day, women wore suits. They didn't wear slack suits or whatever they wear now. Most people don't dress up anymore. And it grieves me sometimes because, like, oh, I want to see somebody dress up, even just to go to church, dress up to go to church. And most people don't have a dress up dress, or even I don't even have a dress up dress anymore. I have to be honest with you. They've all been given away because I wasn't wearing them. But dressing up can be so much fun. And the imagination that we can use to put an outfit together. Well, we may have to go down to the local store and find accessories, but that's using your imagination too. Put it together and create something lovely, a new belt, maybe even a weird hat. We'll have a show one day with my hats. I love hats. And we'll show you some of the different things that you can do. But it's all up here and you've got it already, because I can bet while I'm talking just now, you had a thought that said, oh, yeah, I used to love to fill in the blank. And I haven't done it in years because I got too busy raising a family. And then grandkids came along. And now I'm alone. The kids are all grown and gone. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Well, you're going to use your imagination and create something wonderful, because your children and grandchildren and great grandchildren will cherish those memories for years after you're gone. This is why it's so important for us to create memories. You can do that with your imagination. Maybe you're an artist and you love to paint or draw, or maybe you love music and you can write music. And by the way, I'm looking for somebody to write music for my show, but that's another story. Anyway, excuse me, we all have some talent that we haven't used in a long time. So where is it? It's still there. You have to find it again and then recreate using that imagination and that talent that you have to create something fabulous, something people will ooh and ah over. Maybe you could have your own showing at an art gallery, or maybe you know how to quilt. My grandmother was the most wonderful quilter. I've still got her quilt on my guest bed, and it's just looks like it's new because I don't wash it very often because they do wear out, and it's made out of cotton, but it is the most beautiful bedspread or quilt that you've ever seen. I cherish it to this day. And she's been gone, gosh, I don't know. I was a kid when my grandmother died. I was like maybe 10. So she's been gone 77 years, 77 and a half years. But still, she left a legacy. And we can all leave a legacy for our family using our imagination. Otherwise, you know what it's called? Stagnation. Nobody wants to be stagnant. We want to be alive. We want to thrive. We want to create. We want to have fun. We want to do things that make us happy. Now, I may be harping on this happiness business, and it's okay, because I want you to know that happiness is not something that somebody else gets and not you. Happiness is something you create using your imagination, your creativity, your talents, because talents can bring us such joy. One of my talents, if I could say it, is doing videos. I love to do videos. Who would have thought 20 years ago I'd be sitting in front of a camera enjoying it and eating feathers? But I enjoy doing videos. Most people are afraid of the camera. I embraced it. I had a great girlfriend, still have her, and she taught me how to do podcasts, how to do videos, and how to be comfortable. She and I did a show for almost a year and a half. And sometimes it was every day we did a show. Then we dropped down to 3 days a week. Then we finally dropped down to 1 day a week. But we had so many beautiful shows, and we interviewed people and we talked. We never prepared for any of those people that were on our interview shows. We just winged it. And that's what I'm doing now. I have no notes. All I had was a word that okay, this is the word I'll use today. I didn't prepare this. It's all already in my head because I've used it over and over and over. I don't need notes. In fact, they distract me. They get me off track. So you have a talent. What is it? Go get you a piece of paper. Start writing down. Oh, I used to love to paint with charcoal or draw with charcoal or paint with acrylic or oil. Or I used to love to make things with crafty stuff, with glue, staple guns even. I have a dear friend who bought a piece of fabric, had dollar bills on it. It was the cutest thing you ever saw. She made a pillowcase out of it. But you know how she did it? I hope she doesn't see this. She used a staple gun to make the seams. She stapled that pillowcase all the way around so that it would hold up. And she had that on her bed. It was her pride and joy. But she stapled it. She didn't know how to sew, didn't have a sewing machine. But she created it out of her own mind. And it was terrific. It made her happy, gave her joy that she could do that. So I know you might have a stapler. Go to the fabric store, find something that looks beautiful, cut it out, put it on a pillow, put it on a piece of fabric and make a wall hanging out of it. Put it on a table runner or a placemat, or get some felt and make you a new Christmas tree skirt for next year. Because everything's on sale now at the fabric stores. Buy the felt, reds and greens and even yellows and blues. They're all beautiful. And get some sequins. Put sequins on things. My mother made the most beautiful tree skirts. Like I said, she had sequins all over them. One of my cats fell in love with the tree skirt she gave me. Every time I put that tree skirt out with the tree, he would sleep under it on that tree skirt. That was his tree skirt. He never touched a Christmas ball on the tree, never climbed the tree and tore it down, never did any of that. He slept on that Christmas tree skirt. It was his private property. Isn't it fun? But it meant something to me to see him sleeping on my mother's creation. So just know that somewhere within you is a talent that you can explore. Get some lessons. Take a piano lesson. Take guitar lessons. Oh, I'll tell you, my guitar days are over. When I was a kid, my dad won an electric guitar in a poker game and brought it home and decided I was the one that was going to learn how to play the guitar. Well, I kind of loved it, but I didn't ever learn to read music. That was not one of my talents, still isn't. I cannot read music. So I would memorize all my lessons before I went on Saturday morning for my lesson. And I got, fairly decent at memorizing, and I could wing it when I got to the lesson, and they didn't know any better. But one day I was having to practice, and I had to go get a drink of water. So I laid the guitar on the couch where I was practicing. And when I got back into the living room, I sat down on the neck of the guitar. Boy, was that a hard lesson. I broke it. My dad was so upset, but he didn't spank me. He didn't hurt me. But those are the dumb things we do when we're kids, and maybe even as an adult. I don't know. I might do that again someday. I don't want to, but sometimes accidents happen. I just forgot I had laid the silly thing on the couch, and I just turned around, sat down. Off. Ooh, it was broken. Never again. But I never had to take another lesson either. So I'm thinking maybe that was serendipity or something. But just know that you've got a talent and you've got that imagination to make it grow. Turn it into a career. My mother sold all these products. Maybe you've got something that's so ingenious that you could sell it every year, have a craft sale, or maybe every other year or every 6 months have a craft sale. And that gives you a reason to do your beautiful work. because people do love handcraft things still. The younger generation is not as much into it. In fact, I saw a lady the other day at a store. She had on a pretty jacket and she had put a doily on the back of her jacket. And I mentioned it to her. I said, "That's a doily, isn't it?" And she just smiled. She says, "Yes, my grandmother made it." I said, "My grandmother used to make doilies." The younger generation hasn't a clue what a doily is. You put it under lamps and under furniture, the things you put on furniture to keep it from getting scratched. And they were embroidered, they were knitted, they were made out of yarn, skinny yarn, thread, mostly thread, white, and they would be lacy and frilly and different things, stars and ovals. They were doilies. I loved doilies. And I think somewhere in a drawer, I still have some of my grandmother's doilies. So bring all this stuff back. Know that you can create, you can use your imagination and be the person you want to be and be happier for it. So that's our word today, imagination. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on down the road. Bye for now.